All right, at the very end of the last video, I just moved over my first frame, which is just an establishing shot, to my stage. There it is. Now, I'm going to go back to my assets file, and I'm going to hit Command D to deselect, and then I'm going to hit Delete to clear that merged layer. It's not going to look like I do anything, but in order to set up my next frame, I can't have this merged layer on top of everything. So I hit Delete. Now I set up the next frame. What do I want after this? Instead of it just being my character, because this is the next big thing, my character shows up, I could play, this is where I get way too ambitious, I could play with moving some of the mist in the setting. I could change the colors of the sky a little bit. So I'm just going to show you how I do that, right? I would just take this mist layer and I would just move it a little bit. No big deal. Okay? Now I'm going to take this sky layer and I'm just going to duplicate it, but I'm going to take its opacity way down to about 20%. And it's going to be so subtly different, but I'm going to do that. All right. Now I'm going to save. Okay, now this is my next frame. Make sense? Well, let me take the character out just so you can really see. This is my next frame. How do I know it even looks different? Because it doesn't really look different. Well, if I go to, I'm going to now follow the workflow that I put up on the whiteboard. I'm going to move to my topmost visible layer. I'm going to hold down Option, go to Layer, and click on Merge Visible. I'm going to hit Command A to select it all. It's going to select everything in my combined merged layer. Command C to copy it all. Click on my stage. Command V to paste it in. And now I have a second animation frame. And now it's easy to see the changes that happen. So the mist moves. You guys see the mist moving? And you see the sky just deepen just the tiniest bit. It's a little bit more salmon-y. That's all. Okay, leave those open. Go back to my assets. Hit Command D to deselect, because if you don't deselect and you hit Delete, it won't get rid of the layer. It will only delete the pixels from the layer. But I don't want empty layers. So Command D to deselect, then Delete, and it will delete the whole merged layer. Now I set up the next frame. If I want to do this for a little bit longer, I'm just going to deepen the sky by duplicating one more time. It's a little bit deeper. Then I'm going to move the mist just a little bit more, a little bit differently. Then I'm going to go to my topmost visible layer, hold down Option, say Layer, Merge Visible. Command A to select it all, Command C to copy it all, click on the stage, Command V to paste it in, and now we have 3 frames. And this is also where you can kind of judge if it's working, right? And I like the mist moving to one side. I don't like it dropping. So now I'm an editor. And now I say, nope, don't like that frame on my stage. Deleting it. Going back and deselecting, Command D, deselect. And what I want to do is now reset this back to where it was. Maybe even go back in my history to before I moved it. And how can I match that up? Well, now this is how I set up this frame. And if I want to match them really clearly, I can do Command 0 to fit them all full screen, and then just toggle between. So now, yes, they are identical. No change whatsoever. So now I'm ready to set up a new third frame. And this time I'm just going to move the mist a couple arrow clicks. To the left, right? And then I'm going to deepen the sky. And now go to the top. And I'm going to say Option, Layer, Merge Visible. I get the combined merged layer. Command A, select it all. Command C, copy it all. Click on my stage. Command V, paste it in. Now, does that mist movement feel more natural? Yes, it does. So this is what's called a delayed introduction. So I have the establishing shot, and now 3 frames pass before my guy appears. So now my guy appears, but in order to see him, I have to deselect on my assets, delete that merge frame, and now keep that cycle going deep in the sky. For the mist, I'm just going to move it a little bit more, right? And now I turn the guy on. There he is. Topmost visible layer, Option, Layer, Merge Visible, Command A, Command C, click on Stage, Command V. Now I'm finally to my first keyframe. Does that make sense? So the things that aren't keyframes, those are in between. Why did I start with him not in it? Well, because in order to set it to reset at the end, I need there to just be a blank background. And then he's going to enter in again. So eventually Skeletor is going to be floating here, and then he'll disappear, and then there'll just be the background. Okay, so this is a good time to save your stage. Command S, because I've gotten to a keyframe. Save it to the desktop. And it's a good time to save your assets only after you've cleared the merged layer. So Command D to deselect and then delete. Command S to save. Okay, my next frame, I do the same thing. It's going to deepen the sky. Going to move the mist, though it's going to soon become irrelevant because it's going to get kind of covered up. But it's amazing how much that can matter. And then I'm going to turn on the next guy, but turn off the other one. So it's like adding a prop, taking a prop away, adding a puppet, moving it, right? And maybe I want to rasterize this one. As you get comfortable, you can add more and more things just to keep them organized in your mind. And maybe I want to make a new asset of these eyes. So they can just dart around a little bit because he's in a new environment. So I'm going to duplicate that onto a new layer. I'm going to keep that gray. I'm going to call it eyes. And then I can just use the move tool, not the lasso, the move tool, and just move those eyes a little bit. So I'm going to have him looking, let's see, up. This is his second frame. So it goes from here to here, right? Now, merge it all together. Option, Layer, Merge Visible. Command A, Command C. Go to my stage. Command V, paste it in. All right. So it's pretty quick movement, but the GIFs can move pretty fast. So then Command D to deselect, delete it. Now I set up my next frame. It's going to be this guy. Do I want to play with the eyes? I don't need to, right? They've already moved a little bit. It's subtle, but it's going to help because the eyes then change again for this. Okay. But I can't forget, I'd set up these other things. I got to deepen this guy. Or maybe at this point, I start walking it backwards. This will be my last one. I'll deepen the sky. And then on the next one, I'm going to start rolling the sky back again. Just as a little bit of environmental movement. And you can see why we didn't want to put waterfalls in the foreground or flames or vehicles moving. Because then you have to really just keep that in mind, and it might not help showcase your transformation. All right. And then the mist. Yes, I'm going to keep the mist going. Eventually, it's just going to disappear completely. That's what's great about these texture fills. And topmost visible layer, Option, Layer, Merge Visible. Command A, Command C. Paste it in. So now I'm going to run what's called an animation test. Because that seems like a pretty big jump from this to this. But let me go one more step because I have the big change. And then that's the finish of the movement cycle. And then we'll see if I need to slow it down and create more in-betweens or not. So I'm going to delete that. Now we get to the fun one. I'm going to roll back the sky. Going to move the mist just a little bit. And then I'm going to turn on the jump scare one. Right? So let's capture this one. Hold down Option, go to Layer. Excuse me, Merge Visible. Ooh, it cleared my ears. Command A, select it all. Command C, copy it all. Go to the stage. Command V, paste it in. Okay, save it. Save the stage. Go to Assets. Command D to deselect and delete. Save your assets. Always save both files before you run an animation test. This is how an animation test works in Photoshop. You go to Window and you click on Timeline. Okay? We are going to do a frame animation. So you're going to create a frame by frame animation. So you choose that rather than a video timeline. You can see that here is the frame of animated frames, right? And a time signature underneath. We're going to go to the frame or the timeline window options, which is a little hamburger in the upper right-hand corner of that timeline window. Click on that, and we're going to say make frames from layers. So remember, when we put finished layers into our stage, they are now frames. So to put them on the timeline to edit timing, I have to say make frames from layers. There we go. Why do I have a white frame? Well, it's because when we opened the stage, it gave us a white frame. I think leave that so you remember that you're editing here. So now I'm not going to delete that. Instead, I'm just going to move it to the trash can. Watch what happens when I hit delete. It actually deleted a frame I don't want it to delete. So don't do that. Instead, when you're editing on the timeline, this is like cutting film. So you're just moving it and trashing it. So drag it down to the timeline trash. Now that white frame isn't there. And now we have all of these frames in sequence. Okay? And they're set at 0 seconds. So if I hit play, it's going to go real fast. So I don't want it to go that fast. So what timing do I want? I want to hold down Shift, select all the frames in the timeline, click on the timing, and my default kind of animatic timing is 0.3 seconds. It's roughly 3 frames per second. Works pretty well for GIFs, but just to see. And then you play. Oh, I did 3 seconds. Too slow, right? So, hold down Shift, select all of them, and then I'm going to go to Other, and instead of typing 3, I'm going to do period 3, 0.3 seconds. You can also do 0.3. So now we play it. Now you can see that mist rolling nicely. If you stare at the sky, you can see it deepening and then starting to brighten. And you get the guy who's now moving. But what did I forget? Yeah, I forgot the thing that he's reacting to. So this is why we run animation tests. And this is why we do it in 2 files. So you can always build in-betweens, or you can always revisit. But that's working pretty well. And it fulfills the first 2 frames of my storyboard, but it doesn't have those new things I added. So this is the pain of it. The timeline is all it's doing is animating that eyeball next to your layers. It just sets it on a timer and turns it on and off. But if I leave this open and I add a new frame, so I'll say stop, and I'll show you what I mean. So I'm back at my assets now, and I'm going to, just to show it to you, find my crab, turn on the last crab, boom, right? And then I'm also missing his emotions, so turn that on. Now I'm going to capture this,